The cabin lights flickered as passengers shuffled down the narrow aisle, dragging carry-ons and adjusting jackets, the usual pre-flight chaos buzzing with soft chatter. I was standing near row 17, adjusting the overhead bins, when I felt that familiar tightness in my chest, the one that comes every time I know trouble is about to enter the room before it even does. And then, like a storm blowing in without warning, they arrived. A billionaire family, though none of us knew that at first. What we saw was the arrogance dripping off them like expensive cologne. The father was tall, broad-shouldered, with a designer blazer that screamed old money. His wife's heels clicked against the jet bridge floor like gunshots, her diamond earrings catching every glint of light, and their 2 teenage children trailed behind, heads buried in their phones, smirking at anyone who dared make eye contact. The father barked, "Move aside, move aside," as though the aisle was a red carpet rolled out just for him. I plastered on my practice smile, the one I'd worn 1,000 times before, the mask that hides exhaustion and irritation, and greeted them with a calm, "Welcome aboard." He barely glanced at me, muttering, "Yeah, whatever," before demanding, "Where's first class?" I explained gently that their tickets were for economy, row 15 to be exact, just 2 rows ahead of where we were standing. His face twisted as though I had offered him rotten food. "Economy? That's a mistake." "Fix it," he snapped, waving his hand as though I had the power to magically rearrange the plane seating chart. His wife leaned in, voice dripping with disdain. "Do you people not know who we are? My husband could buy this airline 10 times over." Her perfume was suffocating, sweet and sharp, and the way she sneered at me made my skin crawl. I took a slow breath, steadying my voice. "I'm afraid these are the tickets you purchased. First class is full." Their children chuckled behind them, and one of them, the daughter, about 15, whispered just loud enough for me to hear, "Guess we're stuck with the peasants." Her brother laughed, elbowing her. My stomach tightened, heat rushing to my cheeks, but I swallowed the anger. I had dealt with difficult passengers before, but something about their smugness hit a nerve deep inside. As they shoved past, the father deliberately bumped my shoulder, not hard enough to be called assault, but firm enough to assert dominance. "Better get used to serving us, sweetheart," he muttered under his breath. I wanted to scream, to tell him off, but professionalism chained my tongue. Instead, I forced my lips into another smile, the kind that felt brittle and ready to crack. They settled into their seats, immediately complaining. The father demanded pillows. The mother scoffed at the seatbelt length. The kids whined about legroom as if they were the first humans ever to experience economy. Passengers around them exchanged looks, some rolling their eyes, others sinking deeper into their seats to avoid confrontation. A woman across the aisle mouthed to me, "I'm sorry you have to deal with that." And for a moment, I felt seen. But the family wasn't done. Every time I walked past, they had another demand. "Get us champagne," the mother insisted, though champagne wasn't served in economy. "This food is unacceptable," the father barked, glaring at the neatly packaged meals everyone else accepted without complaint. The daughter snapped her fingers at me, literally snapped her fingers, like I was a servant in their mansion. "You better hurry," she said, nose tilted upward, her voice a mockery of patience. My hands trembled as I adjusted trays and poured drinks. The humiliation clawed at me. I could feel my heart hammering in my chest, the words I wanted to say burning the back of my throat. "I'm not just your servant. I'm a person. I have dignity." But years of training told me to keep calm, to maintain professionalism no matter what. Then came the breaking point. The father, annoyed that we didn't allow them to use the business-class bathroom, stood up, towering over me. "Listen here," he growled, jabbing a finger toward my chest, close enough that I could feel the heat of his skin. "Do you have any idea who you're speaking to? I could have your job with a single phone call. One call." His wife chimed in, laughing. "You really think you're anything more than a waiter in the sky? That's all you are, a glorified waitress." The words sliced through me. Waitress in the sky. Just a servant. I could feel the sting of tears threatening to rise, but I forced them back down. Not here, not in front of them. My stomach churned with anger and shame. The cabin went silent. Passengers froze, eyes darting between us. I knew they were all thinking it, but were too afraid to say it. This is unacceptable. Something shifted in me then. That tightness in my chest, that helpless fury, snapped into something sharper. Resolve. They thought I was powerless, just a pawn in their world of wealth and arrogance. But what they didn't know was that in this space, on this plane, I wasn't powerless. I had authority, and, more importantly, I had the captain. I excused myself, voice steady but eyes burning, and went straight to the cockpit. My words tumbled out, controlled but urgent, as I explained the escalating abuse, the finger-pointing, the threats. The captain listened, jaw tightening, nodding slowly. "You did the right thing," he said, voice calm but firm. "We can't allow passengers who jeopardize crew safety to remain on board. I'll handle this." My heart pounded as he stepped into the cabin. Conversations hushed instantly, all eyes shifting to him. He walked with the steady authority of someone who commanded respect without needing to demand it. He stopped in front of the Billionaire family, arms folded. "Sir, ma'am, I've been informed of your behavior. You and your family will need to leave this aircraft immediately." The father's face morphed from smug superiority to stunned disbelief. "What? That's absurd. Do you know how much money I make? Do you know who I am?" His voice was loud, desperate, tinged with panic. The captain didn't flinch. "Sir, your wealth has no bearing here. On this plane, safety and respect come first. You are being removed." Gasps rippled through the cabin. The mother's hand flew to her chest, her diamonds glittering as though they could shield her. "You can't do this," she hissed. "We're above this. Above you." The captain's voice dropped, calm as ice. "Not today, you're not." Security was already waiting. The father's bravado cracked as uniformed officers approached. His voice grew shrill, shouting, "This isn't over. I'll have your jobs. You'll regret this." But his words rang hollow. For the first time, power wasn't in his hands. The mother stomped her heels against the carpet, muttering insults under her breath. The daughter rolled her eyes, whining, "This is so unfair," while her brother smirked nervously, the mask of confidence slipping. As they gathered their designer bags, passengers began to clap. First a smattering, then louder, unified applause. The sound was thunderous, a wave of validation that washed over me, filling the hollow ache left by their insults. The father's face burned crimson. He spun around, glaring at the applauding passengers, but the clapping only grew louder. Someone even shouted, "Don't let the door hit you on the way out." Laughter rippled through the cabin. For once, the Billionaire family had no control, no status to hide behind. Just four humiliated figures walking back down the jet bridge, their arrogance deflated. As the door closed behind them, the cabin exhaled as one. Passengers smiled at me, some whispering, "Good for you," others giving me thumbs up. My chest loosened, my heart finally slowing. For the first time that night I felt not just relief, but triumph. The weight of their insults no longer pressed on me. Instead, I carried the satisfaction of knowing justice had been served. Later, as the plane soared through the night sky, I stood in the galley, sipping water, the hum of the engine steady in the background. I thought about what had just happened, how quickly arrogance can crumble, how fragile power becomes when stripped of its illusions. They had believed money gave them immunity, that wealth placed them above consequence. But in that cabin, in that moment, it was respect, dignity, and the courage to stand up that truly mattered. I realized something important that night. You don't have to be rich to be powerful. You don't need money to command respect. Sometimes, the smallest act of standing your ground is the loudest declaration of strength. And sometimes, karma doesn't wait years. It shows up right on time, 30,000 feet in the air, with the sound of applause echoing through a cabin of strangers united by justice. So the next time someone underestimates you, disrespects you, or tries to strip away your dignity, remember this: their power is only as strong as the respect you give it. And when you refuse to bow, when you stand tall, even against billionaires, that's when real justice takes flight. And let me tell you, watching them dragged off that plane, red-faced and sputtering while strangers clapped for me, that was the sweetest revenge I've ever tasted.